Okay, maybe that worked. Oh, whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh my god, what's happening now? Sorry, I guess I don't know what the hell's going on here. What a disaster. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry about the issues. So the Glenn Lawrence beef is the main thing today in Thorp World, but since I'm already running late, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I took it back like 2 minutes so that we wouldn't miss any overlap. And chat replay is back today, which is nice. Oh, I guess I better bring my mic over. My bad. Okay. Now I think I'm actually ready to start.
Anything like that again. Because
Absolutely.
everyone in that system should have said, like, well, we need to follow the law. Right?
Absolutely. They're being paid by the government.
They wantonly refused. How hard is
they're
it to
being
come up
paid
with
by
some?
the people in the
How
classes,
hard
yeah.
is it to come up with some procedures and policies? I did that the first day of every single class. I said, "Here's the policies and procedures."
But you know,
right?
you know why they don't
The
give you
school
one?
had to publish a student handbook.
Mm-hmm.
How can you do something without letting the people know what you're doing and what the parameters are?
Right. But
unless you're totally and utterly corrupt.
You know, yeah, that's why they make money. The government
And you
forces
think
people to
that
take these
the people
classes.
in this system are just going to bend over and take it, which they did largely, in my experience, because they don't want to cause any problems. Because look what happens when you do cause problems. Now you got to go back into the system. But man, when is the time we just stand up? It's like super easy. Now I need that lawyer who sees those dollar signs.
Yes.
To say like, yeah, I'll take them all on. Are you kidding? What is fatter than taking on corporations and municipalities and states?
Yeah.
Right.
You have big payouts for those lawyers.
Huge payouts.
Absolutely.
The only one where I can see dollar signs is Jacinda.
No.
Because you can't squeeze blood from a rock.
It's true.
But everybody else involved here, man, they should cover their ass. Like they should, like you should do at least the basic things.
Absolutely. They didn't, because they're totally corrupt. The government forces people to take these classes. The people have to pay these instructors this money. They're making this much, whatever, how many thousands off per class. And they don't want any guidelines because then they can't be held accountable. And they think the people in the classes are too stupid and too browbeaten by the system to say anything.
Right.
And they kick you out, and they're expecting you to say, yeah, I did what you said.
And then
I'm
all
going
the
to take mental health
all
classes.
the lawyers in the system,
everybody in the chat is like upset with Grace. Like they only want Ben to speak.
Always will tell you the same advice. Don't fight it. Don't fight the system.
Right.
You're only going to end up paying more. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen other judges in other municipalities, like, you know, the when you see televised, and they'll let a crazy guy who's representing himself make his case, right? And they'll even say like, that's a good point, or like, you could have been a lawyer or whatever before they, you know, usually they incriminate themselves.
That guy was so great. Yo, Anna!
Okay, but in this system, it's like, no. You come in here on your knees.
I know.
Or you get wrecked. And don't you dare. The most offensive thing to people in this system, all the way up, is if you say, like, this is America. I have rights.
Absolutely.
They'll let you
they
say
hate
that,
that.
but they're basically like, everyone looks at you like, what the fuck are you talking? You're going to read the law? Like, right? Like that's the fart in the room. If you read the law or
But it's
cite the
work.
First Amendment,
Makes work.
they're
They
like, I
make
don't think
work.
you get how it goes here, bro.
What judge would allow in their courtroom the law to be treated like a fart?
And the thing
And I'm
is,
like,
the
what?
thing is about a public defender is they should be absolutely neutral. They should say
I
like,
had cops
look, if
tell
you
me,
want
I
to
had
fight it,
police officers
you know what
who
I
were
mean?
sworn
They
to
don't- the
uphold the
system, it is
Constitution.
tough. I've seen this
I had
firsthand.
police officers
Yeah.
tell me,
Many times.
hey, you know what I would do? I get
It's a
another
joke.
apartment
It's a
in
joke.
another state. Every single one of them goes, well, you know, that's the price you pay for expressing yourself on the internet. What are you talking? What are you here to protect and serve, if not the most sacred right of an American?
A lot of
Right.
people do not care because they don't know what it's like to be in a place where that isn't a right. People take it for granted. And don't understand that it is kind of
How's it going, St. Elmo's Fire? Well, he'll have to go in front of a couple judges, right?
this uniquely Western and American fundamental thing that's like the foundation of what makes our society
No, it
great.
isn't. Everybody in every society knows on some level that if you can't communicate, you're going to have a dysfunctional family,
Yeah.
community, and government.
Yeah.
It is like I'm not saying unlimited, but like if people can't criticize, and there are limits, but in this state,
Chris in Grace's chat says Grace has no future, unfortunately.
they wouldn't have and the dysfunctionality is like, if I'm doing hardcore porn with 18-year-olds, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. I got 20 18-year-olds every day. I bang each of them on camera, which is totally illegal.
Yeah.
Especially if it was gay porn, right? Oh man, let's bring out our pride flags, right?
Yep.
Ain't nobody gonna prosecute me for that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But
Give you a pat on the back.
if I say, I think men should be in a 46%, the most Catholic state in the country, that I think strong fathers
Look at this is quality smoking content.
need to be backed up by the state to make strong families so we can have a strong society.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's no end of it. There's no end to and people can lie. I mean, it just doesn't. It's illegal to be a male. It's not illegal to be a male because you could be gay, you could
Yeah.
be trans, but if you're a man in the state of Rhode Island, you should know that it's just a matter of time until they're going to put you in anyone, male or female, can put you in a situation, and the government will absolutely back.
If it's illegal to be a man in Rhode Island, what would happen if Glenn Lawrence went there, being that he is like literally a production house of men?
Your accuser. You're not given one.
Would Glenn be charged just like one time, just strictly for being male? Or do you think that Glenn would have to face individual charges for each man that he's produced?
One word in your defense.
What I'm saying is, isn't it crazy that the public defender, can you pass this down? They don't say like, look, if you feel that you're innocent, then you're welcome to plead your case to defend yourself. If you feel that if you think you did this or you want to take a plea, then go ahead. They're
Now
just
the
like,
judges they will say like, if this occurred, they won't. But some of the judges just yelled at me, including yelling at me. One judge
Chad's
yelled
wondering if Ruby's already regretting letting the Thorps in.
at me for pretending to hit my daughter,
yes, that was crazy.
which is totally bananas.
How dare you?
I
Now-
can pretend to hit whoever I want to. Pretending, I mean, this stuff was in a courtroom. And he had real criminals there before me. He didn't say that. He was super respectful to them. They had like
Oh, wow.
resisted arrest.
Joe Shabatoni in the chat. Ruby said in the chat, Grace looks like a model. The camera literally makes us look fatter. And Joe Shabatoni said, that's right, Ruby. Grace is my favorite Lane Bryant model.
Been drunk driving.
Because they bent over and took it.
Totally kind to them. All about. But I said, I don't think I should be here. I think I was unlawfully arrested. And he yells at me and tells me I'm Judge Judy. Who's the fucking Judge Judy here? Who's the clown in a robe? You are.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor.
Who are you performing for? What is this speech about? It was so crazy. What is this speech for? You're acting like it's Judge Judy.
This
and
is
you
like
got
a
a camera
totally
on.
dysfunctional family in which if someone says like, hey, at the dinner table, like, hey, I don't understand something. The answer is shut your fucking mouth.
Right.
And don't you understand? Violence is not the answer. So here's some violence to show you that. Unbelievable violence.
Mm-hmm.
So you think the state is going to come hot and heavy for Ben after the child support or what?
Oh, you're a citizen? Oh, you've taught tens of thousands of young people? Oh, you don't have even so much as a misdemeanor on your record in 51 years?
Yeah.
No one mentioned that.
That's kind
It's
of a
just,
big deal. Like to
fuck
have
you.
a totally clean record.
You are now
Right.
Like
right.
I don't have a clean
Scum of
record,
the earth.
you know, but like it's. You'd think if like you were this super dangerous person, there would be one instance of like a law, you know, on your record, but there isn't, you know. So that should work in your benefit and give you some credibility, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not
seem
Andrew
like
Tate.
it's,
I didn't
you
do
know.
things that are borderline. I never set up anything. But once it starts, then the next situation, you have stalkers who try to add to your record and they refer to the previous thing on your record, right? Which they're not supposed to do.
No, they're not supposed
In
to.
every one of these cases, they used as evidence that there was another accusation. That's not evidence.
Mm-mm. Because you were never convicted of anything. Never. You've never been charged with anything.
And then they tell me, hey, dude, you got to get a high-paying job. You got a master's degree. I can't get a job at McDonald's because I can't say, like, I'm currently under investigation by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, have been charged with a crime,
Mm-hmm.
and it appears that I'm going to be going through this for all eternity.
This could go on
But
for
man,
years.
Where's the money? Destroy someone's
You
reputation.
guys, if you guys have seen the Boogie documentary, there's a scene where he goes and applies for a job and he like lists out all of the like, you know, different reasons that the woman isn't going to be able to find him a job. Maybe we need to, that would be pretty good content if Ben would do something like that. Like meet with a job placement agent and then like tell the agent his story.
No evidence whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
because there's an angry woman at the center of it all. Like,
This entire thing has been about my supposed victimhood. Like, legit, that's what it's for. It's not against anybody else.
no, your mother started all this because when the thing happened with you, they referenced her case.
That's true, which they shouldn't
which
do.
was 100% perjury.
That's a civil case.
From beginning to end.
How's it going, South to West? Hey, what do you think about Ben's drama with Glenn Lawrence?
But even if it wasn't perjury, her restraining order against him is a civil case. That's like if someone had a lawsuit against him and the cops referred to that and said, "Oh, well, he has a lawsuit on his record."
Yeah, you're not supposed to-
Therefore,
that's
he
just- yeah,
like you.
yeah.
That is not supposed to factor in at all. At all,
Would not
it's a
be
civil thing.
admissible.
A restraining order is not criminal for a
Are
reason.
you talking about
I
the
don't know what the reason is.
nonprofit St. Elmo's Fire?
But it's not like it's civil.
Well, anyone can get a restraining order.
Yeah.
So then if you say, like,
You have something
here, I'm going
here.
to set you up. I'm going to get a restraining order against you. Like Karlin Borshenko has a restraining order against me.
Maybe they
based
thought-
on nothing. I didn't drive to New Hampshire to fight it. But now she can, you know what I'm saying? Like and they don't recognize this could be abused. How did that even go through? I have no idea. How did a court say, like, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? I never made a threat against her, and I specifically said, I have no intention whatsoever of ever causing you harm.
Maybe don't talk about it. I don't know. I just.
Is there a gag order?
Well, I know you're a big Ben supporter, South to West, so I figured you'd want to be up to date on all of his activities. He went on Glenn Lawrence the other day and kind of clowned Glenn a little bit and questioned his masculinity. And then Glenn went into a VC and ran his mouth about Ben and Grace. So Ben went on Glenn Lawrence this morning to kind of confront him about what had been said. And he got Glenn Lawrence to admit that like Glenn admitted that he himself was a loser to Ben. And then he refused to debate Ben, and he said that the only way he'll debate Ben is for 5K.
On that one?
Well, the RO is part of the whole thing, right?
She has a cyber. I don't even know what it was. They handed me the wrong papers.
I don't know. I'm not trying to cuck the content. I'm just saying, like,
Well, you
isn't
don't
that
wanna- you
is
wanna
that
be
part of it
careful
now?
and
I
be
don't
smart
know.
about it, you know.
I don't know.
I don't know how the gag order.
But you keep telling me this is your problem, Grace. You keep telling me that you agree with them that I don't have any rights as an American anymore. So that's fine. Just direct it to yourselves. You can do
I
your hair.
completely don't agree with
and-
that. I don't agree with that, but until you can fight against that, until we file a motion against that, I don't want you to get in trouble
Against
for that.
what?
That gag order thing.
Gag order? That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with Karlin Borshenko.
Oh, it's Carlin. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
it's
You can talk about that
Carlin.
all you want. I'm sorry. I thought you were I thought you were talking about something else. I'm sorry. Carlin is that YouTuber. She was you never saw our interaction with her. She's a psychologist. Carlin Borshenko. She's a psychologist.
She's
who,
a supposed psychologist who has a degree in psychology who diagnoses people without them asking to. And
Yeah.
when someone says like that's unethical according to your own profession,
Yeah.
she then accuses you of committing a cyber crime called cyber harassment.
Yeah, and so she got a restraining order against him in New Hampshire.
Wow.
Did you
Yeah.
notice how dismissive Ben was when he said cyber harassment? That was great.
No, she didn't get a restraining. That's fine. You're my legal counsel. You're worse. I'll go back to this guy.
Oh, so okay, well,
That's not true. It's not a restraining order. I don't know what it is.
it's not a restraining order? Oh, I thought it was
She never got a restraining order. No.
Oh.
It's some kind of cyber something.
Oh, okay.
The police
Yeah.
officer who served it to me served me the wrong papers.
I
To
remember
be
that, yeah.
fair,
And
this-
I was told there's a
like this entire arc of the conversation is happening because Ben did refer to it as a restraining order, which is why I think Grace got confused over who they were talking about. And now she's trying to loop back around, and this whole conversation's been built on a misunderstanding.
court date that I could drive to New Hampshire to defend myself about.
Yeah.
Which, why would you want to have this person you're afraid of driving up to where you live?
I don't know.
Right?
It's all crazy.
It's just like BDSM.
Mm. You inform him of like what state you're in, like, okay, that's
Because then
how's
she's
that
going to
work?
be in a courtroom with me, right? So that's what she wants, right? And I don't
Yes.
want anything to do with that
Yeah.
pig.
She's for big tech. But you're
And that's in the freedom state. Live free or die.
Mhm.
Unless some beast gets angry at you and then we just bend over and send you papers. I don't get it. How about some evidence?
Mm.
No one has any evidence of anything. All the way down.
Well, is that available to Ben or only to Grace?
There's no evidence of anything.
Yeah.
And yet my life is just apparently eternally one court case after the next. And you say, don't talk about it. I say, it's great content.
It is great
I
content.
think I should have a press announcement before all this shit
Mm-hmm.
and after all this shit, right on their own grounds going,
Yeah.
here's what it is.
Mhm.
Here's the latest.
Yeah. Because it is crazy what happened. We didn't even get into what actually happened in court. So we went in after I talked to the prosecutor. We went in, like, what would you say, 9:30 or something, even though they told us to be there for 8:30.
Yeah, it was like 9:20.
9:20, we go into the courtroom.
No, it was like 9:15 they brought us in.
Yeah.
And they had a recess at 9:25.
Yeah, right.
10 minutes.
Right. And all your attorney said was, I want, like, a...
My attorney was in the other courtroom.
Yeah.
Until my case was called.
Right.
And then he had been there for something else, and they're like, dude, you're supposed to be here for this guy. And he's like,
Right.
oh, okay. Let's delay it.
Right, right.
And then he walked out.
Yeah. Then we
there
went
was
on
a
the
recess.
Yep.
Then it was called.
Mock Lavelle in chat says Ben Frank must seek refuge in an attic.
Back in at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a job in which you work for 11 minutes and then take a break.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't that sound
for half
great?
an hour.
Doesn't that sound great?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But whatever, maybe it's how they do it. We're called back in. Eventually they get to my case. They have me up. My lawyer had told me that it's probably going to get dismissed.
Yep.
But he said to me, but this podcast, because he doesn't even know what to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently this podcast thing is putting a wrench in the works. So his advice to me, which is fine, was, and don't do any podcasts. Don't have your daughter do any podcasts, as if I'm in charge of another adult.
Right.
Who's supposedly also, by the way, the victim here.
Right.
Wait, why
right.
do they not want you to like do anything online? What is their like?
Well, his attorney.
Because as an attorney,
he said
right,
Well, I
That,
guess
he
as-
said that our
attorney
streams
would-
were throwing a wrench in it.
So
I don't know.
So I
how.
said, I
We
believe
barely
that
really
I'm an
talked about
American.
this.
Yeah, he's like,
Okay, I love this conversation. I think it's great. But I really like I knew that Ben's lawyer had told him like to get off the internet. But what Grace said, like the streams are throwing a wrench in it, that's kind of, I didn't pick up on that the first time. I mean, I knew obviously that's the point of getting off the internet, but it's just interesting to actually like hear it confirmed.
like the podcast is now inhibiting this from being dismissed, basically, right? Because well, you forget him. You heard the prosecutor say you should be out of here by 9:15. We have no
I
interest
did.
in going forward with this, even though this thing's
Said it
been out there
directly to
for 3 months.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, this town of Sturbridge, because they don't want to get sued. It ain't because of justice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to get sued. They come in and whatever they said, they've got.
Well, yeah, I think generally a lawyer's probably going to tell you like to not talk about the case except like with them or like, people that are like super, super close to you, which is part of what makes all this so fascinating, right? Is that we're seeing like conversations and getting information that like typically we wouldn't have access to.
Got a pile of DVDs from 1983 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They sat there and they learned how to burn a DVD, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
2005. All right.
Literally,
So
like,
they got it together.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh no, we want you to prosecute this on our behalf because we got a case here." But I've seen their case. It makes no sense.
Mhm.
It's like
And we'll be going through that.
the most ridiculous jumble of half coherent references and outright lies, which are
Mhm.
demonstrable,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and which they should have known are just demonstrable.
Yeah, but I guess
and
they're
then
never
so the
held to
prosecu-
account.
and so then they're kind of like, all right, I guess we're not going to dismiss this, even though the victim here doesn't feel like a victim, even though
Is this the cigarette burn? That's taking a long ass time to heal.
we don't even know what this is because they called it a restraining order, which
Yep.
it isn't.
Yep.
And now, and I give the judge credit because she was like, well, why can't we go forward here?
Mhm.
Being Ben's lawyer is probably like being Trump's lawyer. I can see that because, yeah, I mean, they're both going to say what they have to say, like, regardless. Although Ben has been much more careful than I expected when it comes to talking about stuff that I'm assuming is under the gag order. He catches himself pretty often, and Grace has been pretty good about cucking the content to keep the gag order upheld.
Because okay,
This is now
just
the
to clarify,
third time I've been before a judge.
yeah, this was supposed to be the bench trial.
It was scheduled to be the trial, but now the prosecutor of the trial says we need more time to gather evidence, even though this goes back to June. What more
Right.
evidence is there? You
He
got
had-
all the evidence.
Yeah,
The whole thing was live streamed.
right.
Yeah.
I don't
What
understand.
have you been doing for 3 months?
I don't
You wrote the
understand.
police report the next morning.
Yeah.
My attorney supposedly has all this evidence, but I can't get it from him, or maybe I can. I don't know. What
I
do you have
don't
to-
know.
Do you have to file a special thing like, hey, could you be my attorney and could I look at the evidence?
Right.
Apparently.
St. Elmo's Fire, are you claiming that Ben isn't just interrupting her naturally, that it's like a part of his legal strategy to keep a unofficial gag order on Grace?
Won't even send you the police report of your own arrest.
You don't have access to that, sir. Well, do I have
These are great smoking vibes, too. This is a really good room for a pod. I think it's a really good setup for a podcast.
access to the evidence? Well, your attorney does, but I can't talk to him. Well, you're going to have to, take that up. It's between you and the attorney. I don't know. It's just all...
So then the prosecutor
Ruby.
asks for it to be extended until October 23rd, and I'm like, okay. And then you asked the judge if you could ask her a question.
No. Then my attorney, I think correctly said, like, we object to that.
Yeah.
Because he got enough out of our, even though he didn't say, like, I'm going to object to this, but apparently
He understood.
he acted as my attorney last time without even me even being aware he was acting as my attorney.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
I guess is good. He said we object to that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the objection was.
I think he just said we object to that. The defense objects to that. And then the judge was like, okay, well, prosecutor, why do you want it extended? And he was like, well, we need more time to collect evidence or something like that.
Collect evidence.
And then the judge was like, okay, we'll extend it.
And then I just asked the judge if I could ask one question.
Yeah.
Because I said my attorney told me that he wasn't sure whether I have First Amendment.
Next Thursday is a watershed day in the divorce case. Yeah, we're getting ready to head through the real legal hurdles.
And freedom of speech. And I just
Are you worried about Ben, south to west?
want to check with you whether I do or whether, and she said, well, the First Amendment's limited and blah, blah, blah. But I said, do I have First Amendment rights as adjudicated by the Supreme Court and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the laws? It's the same as any other person, or has it been abrogated in this case?
Yeah.
And she said, no, it hasn't been.
Yeah.
And I didn't turn to my attorney and say, okay, so stop telling me that it has been, but I should have.
Well, no, but I mean, I just like, it was just interesting that you asked the judge if you could ask her a question.
What kind of an attorney says, like, I don't know if you have First Amendment rights anymore?
It's so ridiculous.
Maybe they just wanted you to not incriminate yourself or something. That's the only angle I can think about this. Also, just
I bet south to west is absolutely seething hearing Ben talk about how he was told that he did not have any First Amendment rights anymore.
Well, his point is shut
So
up
that
because it
podcast
makes my
at
life
5.
harder.
Oh, what time is it? Oh, 4:10.
So,
Okay.
but you guys are welcome. Kevin's going to work, so this is all. I can just do it in my room, and you don't have to end anything.
Are you doing it? It's your review.
He said his lawyer basically told him to shut up because it was making his life harder. You're praying for an anti-male lesbian judge. You think Grace's clothes are ill-fitting?
Your interview stuff?
It's another. It's like a friends podcast.
Oh, okay.
You have Ruby Tuesdays?
No,
it's Thursday.
Thursday.
It's a friends. It's like the truthful transsexual.
Oh, that's
Of
cool,
course,
that's
the
cool.
hyperfixation continues. But they came on my stream a while ago.
Would we be
so-
too loud being in here?
No, I can barely hear anything through the walls.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys are welcome to continue, and then I could just do that, and then just like come back out after.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds
I
fine.
If I can push it like a little later.
No, you
are
don't
you
have
doing
to.
Speed dating tonight. What is?
Oh
with
yeah.
that?
I think we should. I think we should do
I'm
speed
down.
dating. Yeah. I think I'll set it up. Princess has some people. We could just do it like together. It doesn't really
It'd be
matter.
fun.
Yeah.
I think people will like it.
Yeah.
Like a fun change of scenery, you know,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
IRL. Okay. So
Was this the stream where Ruby like went into a different room to be on a panel or something, and Ben and Grace kind of shit talked her while she was gone? I missed that part live. You think Ben's going to jail? I mean, didn't somebody say that like Rhode Island was really strict about the child support?
doing that at like 8 probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, this will probably go from like 5 to like 6 or something.
Okay.
So just FYI, that's like a thing. But I don't know, how long does the hair thing take?
I would think that would take an hour or two.
Oh really? We could do it like while we're doing speed dating.
Yeah, we could. I mean,
We
it's
could
like
just
a,
have it,
it's like
on our
a,
hair and,
it's
just,
like a.
take, you know.
Like, is that what you're thinking is going to happen, St. Elmo's Fire? You think that the reason he would go to jail would be because of, like, non-payment? Or do you think, like, there's some other criminal situation? Is Pronsa still behind them? I mean, kind of, I guess. I mean, he wants to get monetized. So I think he is, like, in that sense. I think he still likes Ben and Grace, but I think, like, he's not, like... I wouldn't consider him a Grace loyalist anymore. What's up, Dan? He should have made some token payments with the YouTube money. They couldn't. They needed these microphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta fry your hair over time, right?
Yeah,
it has to stay
it's
on
gonna
for a
take.
while.
It's yeah, it has to sit on. I would say for both of our hair, like at least.
Hold on. So, $60K behind, and how much was Ben's payment? $900. That would take a pretty long time, right? To get up to $60K. How long does it backdate? Do you know that?
An hour probably.
Yeah.
Just to
I'd
really
like
get
to
the
go
light low.
transgender, so maybe I could be one of the female daters, because
Oh yeah.
Yes.
you're a woman when you say you're a woman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We could put some eyelashes on you.
Because it's a crime to be a
You're
man,
Spacek,
so...
trans femme. You can change your legal sex.
Do you have any wigs?
Fuck, I used to. I might have thrown them out. Fuck. I can.
Do
check.
you have... Can you castrate me?
we
Because I think that would be the
do
key.
have
Castration
a
stream.
kind of dull knife, so it might be painful and weird, but we can make it happen.
Do you have any of those, like, nut crunchers?
Oh, like an actual. That would be awesome, like a nutcracker.
Nutcracker, yeah.
No, I don't think he's 60K behind. 60K is like how far behind you have to be to go to jail. I think is what St. Elmo's Fire is saying. Ben offered you money to help him for real. What odds he actually comes through? I mean, I don't know. Like, Ruby seems to have been pretty square with him. Like, they gave her what they promised and more. So, but then, like, OPC Don, you know, is still upset about the loan or the bet or something like that.
Nutcracker. Actual.
Would that be
nutcracker.
illegal? Or is that healthcare?
I think that's actually covered by insurance.
If you crush my nuts on stream, would the cops come or would they celebrate? Because according to most New England states, that's solving a crime, isn't it?
It's solving somebody's health issue. It's like giving somebody CPR.
Yeah, I have a health issue that I have.
I would love to hear how some of these arguments would play out in court. The nut crushing would be classic.
Testicles.
Yeah. So Ruby would be a hero.
It's causing me endless criminal repercussions.
Yeah.
You could also do take Lupron and do a chemical castration, and then we could do some estrogen, and you'll finally get the female fucking perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because
The female privilege.
Can I get that at the drugstore?
You can go to Planned Parenthood, right? Let's do it, man. Planned Parenthood.
I can go to Planned
informed
Parenthood
consent?
and say,
You could say, I am a woman.
You think the hearing may be about inadequate responses to Courtney's discovery requests? I know absolutely nothing about it. I would love to know what's on those CDs, though. Ben said there were like some CDs or DVDs. Like, if they're using stuff from the stream, I wonder which clips it is.
Give me hormones.
I feel like I'm part of the LBGTQIDGAF community
Yeah.
because then you can't be, it's not a crime anymore. You're not a criminal.
And you can
You're
also
protected.
just say you're non-binary.
You
That's
get away with
the
anything
easiest.
as a woman. You could get away with anything.
Literally.
I mean,
I think the
technically-
crime is being a
technically,
heterosexual
after-
man.
You would be
So how do we solve?
Amazonian
So it's like Nancy Drew's mystery. How do we solve the crime?
Right.
You have to get me
right.
to not be a heterosexual man.
You could
I
be
say
a
Lupron.
homosexual
I
woman.
could put you on methadone.
What if I'm a
and
homosexual
kills your
man?
testosterone. I
If you're a
have
homosexual
methadone.
man, that works. But you're
You
still a
just dose
man.
them up.
How do I join the G community? I have to have sex with a man?
All you have to do to be a T is to say that you're non-binary. That now falls under the trans umbrella. So you could just say, I'm non-binary. That's it. You are now LGBT.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's his streams. I'm just saying, like, I wonder which streams were like of legal value.
But I'm queer in the sense of odd, the archaic sense.
Classic.
Does
Exactly.
that get
We're
me in?
LGBTQ.
How do I join the LGBTQ community?
I just officiated it. You are now a member.
I'm in?
Yeah, because I'm in, and if you have someone else who's in,
Yeah, it's like the-
confirm-
I know he's just talking shit, but it's funny to think of like Ben believing that like there's like a place you go to fill out paperwork and then they like run your background check and send you back like your official documents and then like that prove you're part of the LGBTQ community.
So now I
Mafia.
can't get fired
Confirm
from a
your
job?
identity.
You're a made man.
No, you're protected, and yeah.
Do I have to identify as a woman?
No, you could just be non-binary.
I'm non-binary?
Yeah, non-binary mask. But sapphic.
You don't identify. I don't know what sapphic means. You don't
It's like
identify
a
as.
lesbian. Like
But don't
Do I have to identify as a woman? Am I non-binary?
don't they
it's
don't
like
they
the,
require
like, the chic, like, you know, like inclusive lesbian is like sapphic.
but don't they require isn't there some why wouldn't everyone be an LGBTQ
Right?
IDGAF?
Oh, the numbers are skyrocketing. So
Yeah.
and people are transmaxing. Like incels transmax because you can actually, you know, think if you're like
You don't get a
very
card or anything. You
small,
don't get like a.
undesirable male.
Can I
You can do better as a trans woman.
Right.
Think about it.
better meaning
Yeah.
Better like employment, better sex opportunities, better popularity, better clout on the internet. Like there's a lot of motivations there.
so I say I'm non-binary. But don't I have to dress
Nope.
like someone who's non-binary?
Non-binary just means you don't identify as either sex. I think.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't
just like-
identify as either sex.
Yes. You
Yeah,
don't
you're like
identify
a-
as woman or man.
Yeah, you're just
You
like
don't-
a.
But see, this
human.
goes back to the balls thing. If I have balls, they're telling my brain that I'm male.
Yeah, it's a problem.
But we can do
So,
methadone or Lupron. We
I
can
can't
get rid
have
of
that because it
We
keeps
can
going
get-
like,
yeah.
dude, you're not a female
You're
and you're
fighting
not
against reality.
Many
You're not-
screen caps of this were posted to the Discord.
like there's not really not much question here
Right.
as to what you are.
Yeah, that's
But
a
I
problem.
need to have them stop telling my brain that because my brain is committing the crime of listening to my balls. Other guys are able, they've done something where their balls no longer tell them their brain, like, you're a guy, you gotta act like a guy.
Well, a lot of people are on medications that affect your sex drive.
Is that why Jeremy sent in those big donos?
Like a lot of psychiatric medications can annihilate your sex drive. Like even methadone, I dated a guy methadone, he could not get hard or anything because his testosterone levels were like.
What if I say I'm like too exhausted to even contemplate sexual activity? Does that make me part of the LGBTQ
Yeah, in a way.
IDGAF?
Asexual.
Because I DGAF.
Asexual.
Asexual.
Right? Wouldn't that be it? Or no?
Yeah, ace.
You're
Well,
still
yeah,
attracted to a sex.
But
you just don't
can't
want to.
be bothered. That's like how I-
Aromantic. That's still.
I'm too exhausted.
Yeah, you're too tired to figure it out. It's just too much.
Asexual in the sense that you can't have sex. Not that you're not attracted to anyone.
Everybody pray or do whatever you can for the victims of 9/11. What the hell can we do for them? How's it going, Wilmar?
Temporarily Volcel.
Volcel.
That's
Wait,
it.
no. Because,
Like a monk. I'm like a monk.
but it's involuntary because you're too tired.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the... Has anybody ever, like, ever had an expanded discussion on this? I think they would call that, like, somnosexual. Like, you're too tired to have sex. I feel like there are conversations to be had there that could yield some good content.
like that's not you're not
So
you're not
you're
choosing
a
that.
physical, like for a while, I would call myself a brain cell, and that's what they call when you're too mentally ill to figure out how to date. So I was single for like
You're
5
tired.
years,
You're a
because I was
sleep
just,
cell.
Like, so inwardly.
Exhaustion cell.
Yeah, like fatigue cell.
Celibate means, though, someone who does not even try to engage in sexual activity.
No, because you could be
Yes,
involuntarily
but
celibate.
incel means involuntarily celibate. So
Yeah.
there are different types of celibacy, like a fatigue.
Yeah, celibacy doesn't mean that you're not trying. It just means that you're not succeeding. But it also could mean that you're not trying, but it's not like an umbrella term.
Are they
cell.
part of the LGBTQ IDGAF
Yeah, I would
community?
include 'em.
Really, an incel?
LGBTQI.
Yeah, I guess.
I means
Incel.
intersex.
It means intersex, but it could also mean incel.
A sleeper cell, yeah. When Ben fills out like a medical form and it says sex, he just puts like too exhausted.
Still are kind of oppressed and gay, so
Yeah. As long as you're not heteronormative, cis
I
normative.
say if you got the gay.
But that's what
treatment
my
in high
balls
school,
keep
you're
telling
in.
me, and I know that's a crime.
Yeah.
My balls keep saying, like, yeah, you're like a guy.
Decentralized recommended you could just crush one ball.
Oh yeah, like kind of.
Yeah, but King TL still seems like a heterosexual, even though he only has one ball.
Yes, but he did say he's had sex with several men, so
Yeah.
I think that might do the
I
trick.
think that the entree into the community is sucking a dick.
I would say that's definitely going to get you like the pass.
I have to, like, do that.
The chat was saying, basically hoping that Ben wasn't downwind from these two girls that were manspreading.
And prove that I did that.
I don't know. I don't know how you would prove that you did that. I think you could just say that you did it.
But I can't even do that. Because the balls tell me, like, no.
Right. Yeah, if you were a gay man, the balls would be telling you yes to.
Oh yeah, that's you, Calvin. You said all that sushi air wafting in Ben's direction. Wow.
That.
What if I just wear a shirt that says I sucked a dick, but I don't avow it?
You disavow your own shirt. I don't know if that would work. I think that would seem homophobic.
It's homophobic to say I sucked a dick?
Well, to say you disavow it.
Well, no.
Is it homophobic?
Not necessarily.
No, I'm not saying I
Your own
disavowed it, but if
belief,
someone asked
you're
me,
like,
is that
if
represent, is that
Yeah,
about
is it
you?
like-
I would say
yeah.
no. It's just a
It's
shirt
not
I wear
really
so I can be
my
part of the
path.
LGBTQ IDGAF
I think you
community.
should definitely lean into non-binary.
I mean, I haven't seen like all the footage, but I will say that he stops himself all the time, or Grace will stop him. From what I've seen, very, very, very little, like, if any. He might have, like, started into a sentence and then been like, oh, I can't talk about that or whatever. But that could have been for, like, dramatic purposes, too. But I think overall it seems like he's sticking to the gag order pretty well.
and tell the legal system.
You're a
that they
part
are
of the
forced
black
to
community.
Play along with this.
I identify as a black man. I don't think that gets me out of it. Not from
think
what
we're,
I saw
like,
in
20
jail.
years away from that. Rachel Dolezal will be remembered as a murderer.
Is Ben even fully straight? Ben is gay.
I wish.
Didn't we do dick pics to him?
Oh, you muted. It's muted. Yes, he sent a picture of his.
Yeah.
He sent an FDP, flaccid dick pic, to a gay man.
I would consider that
Yeah.
LGBT for sure.
Okay.
What's up,
So
brother?
can I just say I'm LGBTQ?
You're
I don't want to get back into this since we did a minor deep dive into it back on the last Thorp stream ever review, but like Ben's like strategy or ethics behind sending only flaccid dick pics always cracks me up.
you're queer. You can just say you're queer.
Yeah.
That means anything except from just straight heteronormative.
So can I get
cis.
representation based on that? Like they have lawyers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think you should totally. It could literally because they have to like actually engage with that legally if you wanted to make a point.
I really
I'm a
think
victim
Ben
of
is
heteronormism.
gay.
What
The
heteronormativity?
tool, though, is that you can pick out, I'm not binary. And you're also incel, and you're queer.
Yeah.
So queer, incel, and gay.
I'm not an incel though.
Well, partially volcel.
Do I have to prove that I haven't gotten any?
There might be some testing required to make sure.
I don't think there's
that
any
there
real
are any
testing with anybody in the
No, there actually
LGBTQIA
isn't.
community.
You can have a fully functioning dick and go into a female prison and impregnate inmates. That's happening in New Jersey. So, like literally, I don't know what the standards are, but they are nonsensical. I can.
I think Grace takes it like much more seriously at this point than Ben does, because that, like you said, not even she's talking about it. And I'm, I like to be a troll sometimes, and I'll put something in the chat that's like adjacent to that, and like she won't even read it. She won't even read like the chat messages. So I think they're trying to be as careful as they can.
But they asked me. The problem is legally. They asked me when I was in there, "Are you the?"
I feel like if Ben would have broken it, especially in any kind of significant way, we would have seen like a clip from somebody.
Things like LGBTQ, and I said no.
Well, you say like.
But you could
were
say that's
afraid.
because you were afraid
Yeah.
of being
being-
targeted
yeah.
by the COs and by the other inmates.
And
You know
go
what I mean?
in, shave your beard, wear a wig. You could wear a suit too, whatever. You're non-binary. Trans.
I really honestly think if you showed up at court with like a wig, a dress,
Ooh.
and a shaven face with like lipstick,
Yeah.
that they would really
Yep.
treat you totally differently.
100%.
Even though you'd still be 6'8".
Yeah.
I think they would be like,
We could
you'd
you
get
some
special.
heels.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Make
just,
you a
yeah.
7-foot beautiful trans woman.
Yeah. I really think you could get some props
Then they would
for
say
that.
these laws no longer apply.
Would you put on lipstick?
I just think that they would give you
Sure.
different treatment.
Okay, how do we feel about that? You've got like one opportunity in court. You've got your first impression. That's going to mean a lot. So you really have that first interactions you have with the judge. Does Ben just want to go in with a suit on? Or does he want to go in with a wig and lipstick? What do you think? What's his best chance to escape with the least amount of penalties?
I think. Perhaps.
Better?
Yeah, better treatment, yeah.
I'm trying to visualize you female. Yeah, I can see it. It'd be more Caitlyn Jenner than Blair White. But,
Mm.
Well, Caitlyn Jenner, though, I mean,
yeah.
Then all these lawsuits would end?
I
ZXV in the chat says, Ruby is what you describe to a blind person to make them grateful for being blind. Yikes. ZXV. Wow.
don't know what would happen, to
But
be
I
honest.
just kind of think it's the right move.
Yeah.
It just feels
I
like
think
the right
I
move
think he'd
here.
get better treatment.
Exactly.
I think he would.
I'm not
And he'd wear
opposed
the
to it.
10 fucking fox too.
Yes. Yes.
They really.
Oh gosh, I don't think. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember Ben talking about anything like that. I kind of remember Grace talking about Courtney, but not in a way that was like divorce related, just like talking about memories and stuff like that. Well, you know what I mean. He could, I guess, not a first impression, but like if he feels like there might be a need for a shakeup, do you think going in the wig and the lipstick would help him in his next appearance or hinder him?
Really would have to take you at face value. They have no choice unless they want a lawsuit.
If Grace could somehow talk Ben into doing that, I mean, it would be mind blowing.
Would have to take you at face value.
Kelvin says, I really do think Ben
And
is
just be like,
gay. He was
totally
very
serious, like,
attached to
listen,
Darius.
I was afraid of showing my true identity, but I talked over and I'm coming out as a trans woman today.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's
A lot
my
of people
tactic.
come out late in life, like it happens.
I thought I had a good legal case, but like nobody cares, right?
Because
That's
you're
just
male.
like that's
This
hetero.
literally, I think, is the path.
Don't they say logic is sexist? You ever heard that?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I've
And
heard
white.
that.
It's
Logic
oppressive
is
whiteness.
sexist. Dead white men
Oh, yeah. Dead old white men.
Yes.
and logic and reason.
Yeah.
So if I'm a woman
Yeah.
or a gay guy,
Or gay.
Gay is too normal. You could no.
Gay is pretty normal.
Yeah,
now.
it
It's
doesn't
pretty
really
like
get much.
widely accepted.
But trans is still like weird. Yeah. It's still like out there for people.
People aren't used to it.
so I tuck, wear a skirt.
Tuck, wear a skirt,
Oh, no.
lipstick.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a whole other pack open.
See you,
Hello.
Thorps. Pleasure to meet you. Officially banned. I've seen you though, but I'll see you guys around somewhere. Is this the new headquarters?
For today. Forever.
This is a great room
We're
for
moving in
streaming.
here.
Yeah.
We need
So this guy kind of looks like Freddie Mercury, but he does the tropical hand things.
help
I
my
always
friends.
say no.
We
We
need
never.
help.
I know we're followed behind.
We're gonna do a whole cleaning stream
Oh yeah, they're gonna help you clean, Kev.
in exchange for
But no,
a
they're
bed
not judge,
and food.
They like it. I know it is almost comfortably like dirty. Like it's just like an extension of our body. It's like
You know,
everything's, like, gross.
I had a friend who was like,
Go crazy. Clean my whole house. Just stay in my room. I love you guys.
All right, love you,
Bye.
brother. Have a good work shift. Maybe we'll visit you. Are you going to Florian? Or should we say
you know, I had a friend who
Mine just telling me
had an
no.
extraordinarily messy house, and like I'm talking about like dishes piled to the ceiling.
Like a hoarder kind of.
DH,
Oh wait, DH.
the H family,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yes.
I'll call them. They were both frenemies, but like the other guy was this Amish dude, and he was like, "I'm gonna help you out," and he came in to his house and cleaned it, and he also created, which was a mistake. He also opened up the attic so he could put the extra stuff that was all over the place in the attic. Guess what happened? Guess what happened?
What?
He just filled all the shit up in the attic and then just made another mess. in
Yeah,
his
it
place.
was brutal.
Because
it was absolutely brutal.
You know, it's similar to
At
like
least I'm like not that bad, but we're like level 1 hoarders. If you look at the like hoarding, there's like level 1, level 2. There's a visual of it.
I don't think it's hoarding. It's just messy.
I don't think you're hoarders. I don't think
Hoarding
hoarders-
is like,
We're on the
I mean, no,
cusp.
this family wasn't hoarding. It was just a disaster.
It's just shit everywhere.
Just shit everywhere, filth. It was like
Hmm.
one of those like
Yeah, some
toxic
people-
homes.
Was it like
No, like that's like hoarding, like where you have like stacks of things. I
Some
mean,
people
they were
hoard, like, just,
slightly
like,
hoarders because like this
garbage.
guy would like get like instrument after instrument. Didn't he do that? And he'd be like, "I'm gonna learn how to
Yeah,
play the
he'd spend-
ukulele, the
I think he-
guitar."
He'd get
The
manic and spend
xylophone.
like
I love
tens of
that.
thousands of dollars on stuff on eBay that he intended to fix up or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like
If there's-
bipolar.
If there's one thing that Ben cannot take, it's someone who gets manic and then goes on shopping sprees.
Yeah.
Maybe like mania kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Can you like get really excited about the podcast?
He was on like 12 types of drugs. Had a
Yeah.
CPAP machine always,
Yeah.
and would frantically go online and while his kids were just roaming around.
Yeah, they had to. Well, I won't get into it, but
But what I'm saying is, like, you ever say like, oh, here's a homeless guy. He stinks. It's not that hard. Like when we met Gorman, right? Like,
yeah, Gorman, yeah,
good looking guy.
good looking,
Get him a haircut.
ripped.
Get him some nice clothes. But
Mm-hmm.
Good looking guy. What? Gorman, good looking guy? What the fuck?
the thing is, like, they want to be what.
They're
Usually
like that
people
for a
are
reason.
comfortable in the situation they're in.
Yeah.
You need a lighter?
They're like that for a reason. A lot of the time, not all the
so-
time, but a lot of the time, they want.
Yeah.
They're
so
comfortable with it.
But it's
Not
somewhat
always.
like inappropriate to like. I don't know how it is. Like, it is there. It's usually not. The situation isn't what it is because just of a lack of time. It's usually because there's a kind of like. I think we looked into like one of the principles of interior decoration is you want to make your home be like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if
Yeah.
it's kooky, if it's happy.
Has Ben now pivoted to a lecture about interior design? What a roller coaster ride. Hey, what's up above the trees?
If it's whatever, right?
Mhm.
Like that's like appropriate interior decoration. So if you feel messy, then messy is probably going to feel right.
Yeah.
But if you feel ordered, then ordered would be right. But it usually is like symbiotic. You know
Yeah.
what I
I
mean?
want to be
Yeah.
more ordered.
You wanna have
It is
order?
symbiotic. Yes, absolutely. It's like chaos. I'm just a chaotic mess. Like the mess just develops around me, and I really just struggle to maintain.
Doesn't it just?
clean
This is how I used to feel like it. Just
I really like the fact that neither of them like offered Ruby the microphone for like the one time she's featured so far.
gets to a point where like you don't deal with it for months. Then I don't know if you do this, but like at one point you just deal with all of it,
Yeah.
and then you kind of feel overwhelmed by how much it was, and it builds again. It's like an endless
that's
cycle.
basically me and Kev are in the same cycle together, so
Yeah.
it's double.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is okay because we just started having people over again because I had a boyfriend. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he came in and like did a lot of cleaning. It was really bad before.
Yeah. I mean,
a couple men tried
everybody
to
gets
fix
when
me,
things get messy. Everybody understands that. You've seen the RV. Like, it'll get so messy in
But this
there.
is just small space. It's in small spaces. It's so easy to look like messy. See, this is just
Yes.
like, around. See, I'm just like here, and already I create like so many Diet Cokes and ashing everywhere. Like, I feel like I just am chaos.
Ruby
Like,
knows
I'm
that
in
smoking
chaos.
all the cigarettes is the only way to get them to leave. Suffa, Maklaville, we have a cigarette maker in the RV. When she runs out, we'll roll some more.
We have a
I
cigarette maker on the
whole other
couch.
pack. I have like another pack and a half, I think. Actually.
2, actually. So you were talking about the so after it got extended, he went to the clerk's office to see if he could get another public defender. And they said, "Well, that's the guy you got assigned to." And he was like, "Well, can I represent myself pro se?" And they were like, "You can say that you want to represent yourself pro se at the next hearing."
But I don't want to represent my.
Kelvin says Grace is hot. This is a good look for Grace. I like it. Plus, she's such a natural, like on camera. Like she's in like a. Ben's kind of the same way. Like if you look at Ben, he's super relaxed and like he's kind of got his vibe, and then like Grace has her vibe, and like Ruby's just like she's not awkward. I don't think she's awkward on camera, but she's just kind of got like her energy's really high for being on camera for like this kind of a situation.
Not pro se, but
Right.
as an alternative to this guy.
Yeah, definitely. So then this is the crazy part. So I went to talk to the prosecutor again. I asked to talk to him again because I was like,
Whenever we build the Thorp Museum after the all of Ben's legal settlements, we'll commission a marble sculpture of Grace from this scene.
well, this guy said it would be dismissed. So I think I have a right to say, like, well, what happened?
Yeah, what
Because
changed?
I'm the victim. I have the right to
Yeah, it
know
should
what's
be
going
all
on.
about protecting it.
Right.
It should be your interests being
So-
protected.
Yeah, right. So, like, I don't have to feel, like, guilty. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
asking what happened.
Yeah.
I have the, whatever.
Well, St. Elmo's Fire, what about Joe Shabatoni and South to West? They're big Ben supporters. He could probably lean on him if he needed to. Lean on Joe Shabatoni.
Because I don't have, like, an attorney. Like, I don't know. So I asked to talk to him again. This lady says, I'll go get him for you. And then she brings him out, and he meets up with this, like, this kind of tall, like, chunky, kind of depressed looking woman, and she's the victim advocate, of course. They're always just the most slobby,
Oh, no.
like, disheveled, sloppy looking women you could ever imagine. So I'm like, okay, this, yeah, sure. So she doesn't say a word, but
really
she's
help
just
you
sitting
out.
there with me. Like, the victim advocates never say like a fucking peep to me. Never. They're the advocates. Like, they're supposed to figure out what you want and, like, take your side.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. Even if you don't want to be a victim,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
supposed to help you with that too. But they never talk. So he's like, so what do you want to talk to me about? I was like, so, I mean, I assume the case isn't being dismissed. He was like, no. And I was like, okay, so, like, what do I need to know? And he was like, well, it's been moved to the 23rd, and I need to collect more evidence before I decide what to do with the case.
I'm so confused.
So I thought that they were, like, just taking it to trial, because the next hearing is called a bench trial.
Yeah.
But he didn't even they still apparently haven't decided whether to dismiss it or pursue it, because he said, I need this time to figure out. He was a nice guy. He wasn't, like, in Rhode Island.
Because the town of Sturbridge now all of a sudden wants them.
You wish you knew more about Ben from objective sources? Who could be objective about Ben that would know, like, all the deep lore, though? He doesn't. I can't think of anybody. Maybe you could do an interview with Ben South to West. Could you be objective, though?
Them to
pursue it. Yes,
aggressively.
I believe that is true. I would assume that, because Sturbridge was the only police department that showed up with 3 people from their department. There was one other
and
sheriff.
2 dogs. Don't forget 2 dogs.
Don't forget the puppies. Yeah, there was one other sheriff from, like, Oxford County, or a police officer who came there as a witness. They had 3, so I knew when the canine guys showed up, I was like, oh shit, like, they're not gonna just let this go, which makes sense because it was such a crazy arrest. Like, of course they're not just gonna let it be dismissed. So then he says,
Because if the court dismisses it out of hand,
Then that also
That
looks
gives
crazy
me-
for them.
yeah,
well, that gives me a
It's like,
lot
wait,
of
what? Then why
Right,
involve that
right.
shit in the first place?
Right.
How
It's
is
a
this?
waste of resources.
but I still think, even if the worst case scenario happened and somehow he got charged with a misdemeanor, it's still overkill for a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't think they would have a case
Absolute overkill.
for a misdemeanor. Like, I still,
Seems
even if it
crazy.
got to that point. But so
The point is, like, when O.J. Simpson clearly murdered his wife and Ronald Goldman, they brought him in the evidence gathering. He didn't have to, but they brought him in for an interview and asked him a few basic questions. Neither you nor I have been asked any questions about the case, which we could easily clear up, like this. They were citing a restraining order that has nothing to do with you and I.
yeah, I did tell that to the prosecutor.
And they keep using the term restraining order,
Mm-hmm.
which is totally irrelevant. But I mean, I get that they think it's similar, but it's
It's not similar. That's
it's
why they're
not
different
similar.
things
They're
under Rhode
assuming
Island
you
law.
went to, you filed a complaint, and that this is a follow-up of it, which
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be crazy enough that you're advocating that it be dropped.
Yeah,
But you never even went in the first place.
that's how the
which in
prosecutor.
Massachusetts there would be no possible situation
I hadn't seen the Kidology one yet. I added it to my to watch list.
in which a person who never asked for this to be, I don't think, to begin with,
Could you pass this to
and
me?
is now asking that it ends, would be, right?
Right.
Which, whatever, good luck. I hope they take it.
But then on top of it, the prosecutor goes, which I didn't understand, but he goes, well, and I was like, so I just want you to understand, like, I do want the case dismissed. I'm not interested in pursuing this at all. And he was like, well, the case can't be dismissed unless the defense files for dismissal, which is the defense is him.
Okay.
So I was like,
Not me. It's my attorney.
his
because
attorney. So I said, like,
The
what do you
judge
mean
asked
by
the attorney what to do, and said like I have no input in it.
Mm-hmm. So his attorney didn't file for dismissal, didn't make a motion for dismissal, whatever it's called. But I even said to the prosecutor, I was like, the defense? You mean my dad?
Do I make money off of this? I mean, I could, but I don't. I don't really think about it. I don't like talk about it or anything. I seem like the media. That's what I try to be. I try to be a while being admittedly a big Grace fan. I try to be as impartial as I can be.
And he was like, yeah, your dad's attorney. And I was like, but he didn't file for dismissal. And the prosecutor was like, no. And so I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't have any more questions after that. But isn't that weird? I was just like, well, why would you tell me beforehand that you think this is going to be dismissed? I don't understand.
Yeah, that is weird.
Isn't that
because
strange?
He told me that he thought it would be dismissed, which, if it's necessary to be dismissed, he would file a motion for dismissal. But he was palling around with the prosecution and the Sturbridge people, so maybe they told him, don't do this because we're all in this together, and like whatever, however they work that out. However a gang works it out, right?
I
don't
guess
know.
so.
That's
I
just
don't
pure
know.
speculation, but
However a gang works it out.
I would think you can talk to them.
Look at Ben's like happy talking. Look at Ruby, look at Ruby, and look at Grace.
The prosecution, but you should be advocating for your client. But if you're all paid by the same,
Am I a trust fund kid? No.
like the state, and you're all grifting and you're all in basically a mafia, then why not have a case?
If I was a trust fund kid, I'd be like uploading much crazier videos than what I do. I would own the RV by now. If I was a trust fund kid, I would just buy it.
Everybody continues to get paid.
Yeah.
And
right.
no one's afraid of anything, because unless the whole thing goes down together, which I am looking forward to, the whole ship getting, because then we're talking not about thousands of dollars or just walking, which I would have been super happy if they had just that night said like,
I do donate to Grace like every once in a while, but it's like really low amounts. Like I'll send her $2 to like, if I really want to make sure that she sees a message or something. Or I think I paid $5 one time for her to do a cartwheel. Yeah, the stream wouldn't be 480p, exactly. How's it going, Anand? What's up, Armand?
okay, that's enough. We're out.
Yeah.
We don't have to threaten to destroy your automobile and then destroy it and then lie about it.
Yep.
We would have been like, all right, that was an uncool night, but let's move on. But instead, right? I guess
They
that's
wanna
what
keep
happens.
doing it.
You fuck with the mafia, man. You pay.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And until you go state's witness and get
Like if I were a trust fund kid or like a multi-millionaire or something like OPC Don, I would like do really funny buddy troll stuff, like hire Ben the George Floyd attorney. Like I would do fun troll stuff that would make for good content.
the FBI in and take the whole organization down, they're going to fight you the hardest of all, because you're saying like, nah, I ain't doing it.
Right.
But I didn't get any support from anyone in there. The people you get support from, people who are smoking on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you
yeah.
what's really up.
They'll tell you what's
But
up.
they'll also tell you bullshit, but like mostly they're like,
Well, one woman was like, he told her who his attorney was, and she was like, he sucks. He's the worst
really?
one here.
I mean, I've had public
You do
defenders
not
before,
want
and
him
they're
as your public
terrible.
defender.
They're literally like I talked to them for like 2 seconds in a hallway, and they always. This is why a lot of young people just do like plea deals because the public defenders just push plea. They whatever is the least amount of work they push. They do not care.
I don't mind donating to Grace because they do acknowledge like every level of donation, which a bunch of streamers don't do. But like also, even if you just donate $2, a lot of times if you ask them to like say something or it's probably not going to do much, but at least you'll get like a reaction and you'll get a little bit of content. Or if you time it right and you know when to send in like a donation that could like trigger Grace or something, then like that's completely worth it to me because you can almost like shift the content for a couple bucks.
This be true with the other public defender. He had a weird thing where he
other
started yelling at me, and then he's like, "I'm just here to present the stuff," and he presented it, and he's like, "Basically, I'm here to like let you know what the options are."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "All right, this is how I'd like to proceed," and then he represented me. I don't think that's very hard. I don't know why an attorney would be advising you. Like, why wouldn't he like share the details of the case with you?
I don't
and
understand.
say like, this is how it looks. This is the good evidence. This is the not good evidence. I never even got a chance to say like, this whole idea of a restraining order is a complete like clusterfuck.
You should have heard his phone call with his attorney. He was so rude. I couldn't believe it.
Really?
Yeah, he was so rude. He was just like, yeah, you'll talk to me at the court case. Yeah, I got the evidence. Just like I don't understand. Like,
it's like, this is your fucking life.
Why wouldn't he forward the court? Why would he forward the evidence? I don't understand. Why wouldn't he do anything?
I mean, I'm sure his take on it is like, whatever. It's just like, I just want to get out there as quick as, in and out as quick as possible.
Literally.
And I also just simply don't understand what us streaming about this has anything, but people say this time and time again, like they don't want this to be public. They don't want what they do to people to be public. We're not saying anything that's confidential.
I could incriminate myself by saying something like, I know that I broke the no contact order on that night by X, Y, and Z.
You think Ben should get a different attorney because of the rudeness, or you think he's not getting an adequate legal defense? Wonder why Ben has problems with literally everyone.
Right.
I could do that.
Right, but he wasn't.
Now this guy can maybe try to burn a DVD just edited with me saying that.
Right, that's the DVD right there.
Yeah, but you're well, I don't know. Maybe he was.
The whole town of Strawberry, the whole arsenal. It's like a a fortress.
That's how I feel about my
that's sitting there, and they go, "We got him! We got him!"
Like, not taking up videos. I felt like they're all watching me.
We got him. The bastard admitted it. Yeah. Clip it.
Clip it out of context.
Burn it to a DVD.
Fuck, am I right, guys?
Burn it to a DVD.
More hookers.
I dealt with the police department in Sturbridge, and they did kind of hassle me over getting some of the Thorp documents. They weren't like rude or anything, but a lot of times if you don't know your rights, like some places will try to kind of like their police department wanted me to send over a copy of my driver's license to get the FOIA. So I just responded and I was like, can you provide me with the statute or whatever that says I need to do that? And then I was like, also to be clear, like, are you refusing to fulfill this FOIA request, as sent? And then like 2 days later, they just fulfilled the request.
There's more.
Like, why do they need your ID to get a public document?
And you know what the insulting thing is in the courtroom is like, they had this like the quintessential like people who don't give a fuck happy birthday, and I'm sure they got a cake for the slob working in the, what I mean? It's like, can you just please understand it's okay, but like you're destroying people's lives out here.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Maybe wait until
it's so
like
Kafka-esque.
the criminals have left, because they get you out of there. Remember we showed up, it was still morning, and they're like, "What's up? We're done." Right? Everybody's taking their vacation. Like,
yeah.
We don't work here. We pretend to work here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good gig. Shh.
Mock Lavelle says Ben should have brought a cake to the court hearing.
You don't really do anything. Yeah, we got this big courtroom. All of us got jobs that are full time, but we only work like 1/4 of what
Yeah.
we worked for 11 minutes before we took a break.
Yeah.
Everybody took a break.
Right. Recess.
Recess is like
It was
every
like literally
fucking 2
11 minutes.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck? It's.
And they don't tell you when the recess is going to be over. You're
No.
just sitting there. You're at their beck and call.
I spent wasted so much time at courts. It's literally.
Be here at 8:30. Why not be here at 8 o'clock? Why not be here at 7:30, 6 o'clock? Whatever it is however we could torture you and destroy your life so
Right.
that you don't make a fuss. How about saying when the court begins and then beginning it? Like, right? Nah. What you gonna do about it, right? That's what the mafia says. What are
We
you
don't want to obscure the Gooner content.
gonna do about it if we don't show up to the meeting?
Ben should have brought a cake to court to win them over. Happy birthday,
Wear a
guys.
wig, lipstick, bring a cake.
I'm gonna be
and
transgender.
non-binary trans femme pronouns she/they.
What
So you
about
can
Zer?
still have yours or Zer. If
Zer.
you really want and fuck with them because they won't be legally compliant to like use your preferred pronouns.
right.
You know.
At this date, Zer was.
I'm pretty-
You go by
yeah.
Benjamina
Yeah.
Thorpe.
I demand that all the
Bonita.
court
Bonita's
documents be
beautiful.
no more dead names be used. Let's make it go until 2050.
Benjamina.
Benjamina.
It's the theater of the absurd. Anyways,
Yeah.
we've lost any sense of anything.
And remember, this is all of this is because of supposedly something I was the victim of that I never said I was a victim of and have fought against the entire time. That's the
wild.
entire
It's like
thing.
Consumed your fucking lifestyle
The
for how
yeah,
many months?
the entire how much pain have I
No,
been
it's that
put
in
through
your-
from this?
Literally.
Well, and another
Like,
thing.
from
And
this,
my mother.
Not like from
You can say
this.
it. You
They
can
are
say it,
hurting
maybe.
You.
Right.
What? It's so backwards.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
guess
just
my
the way-
mother.
There you go. San Almost Fire, if you're still in here. There's an example of how Courtney's, like how they handle discussing Courtney.
Yeah, my mother's thing originally did have a part to play because they
Even though it
made
should.
the arrest based on the restraining order, which they shouldn't. But whatever.
Do you guys want toast or anything? I'm gonna put some in though.
I'm not hungry. Are you hungry? Do you want some toast?
Yes, I would love some.
Okay. Alright, let's make some toast.
So,
Vegan butter.
Vegan butter. So yeah, that was court.
you never. How do you prepare for that?
I don't
You what
know.
I mean?
The fucking your lawyer said it was going to be
I
dismissed. The
go there-
prosecutor tells me it's going to be dismissed.
Right.
I was like, oh, dude, I was a pig in shit. I was so happy, and then it's just like,
Well, it's good for
Fuck.
content, though.
yeah, the drama continues. Whatever.
And now they're going to decide whether it goes to trial. I'm going to go there in October
October.
and say, like, this guy, I can't do it. Then they're going to delay it again
Mhm.
till November. And then I'm going to go, all right, I'm ready to go. And they're like, are you sure? They're going to say, are you sure you
I want to take this image, right? But then I want to run it through like a Renaissance painting filter. Like man in repose, woman in recline.
want to represent yourself?
Yep, they're
And
gonna
I'll
delay it.
say, I don't want to represent myself, but my attorney was horrendous. Unless he gets his act together, I don't know.
That
But
guy,
I don't know
man.
why should I have to like kill myself to get the attorney who represents me to do his job?
I know,
Shouldn't
I
it be
know.
like that's your job?
What about like maybe calling that lawyer that woman recommended and
I went
say,
over there,
you did?
knocked on his door. Yeah,
Maybe he was in court. I don't know.
yeah.
But you could call him and say,
But
like,
I
can you
think
take
that
over
involves,
as a
like-
public what?
I really do think it's like paying for pussy. Like if I didn't do anything wrong, it shouldn't cost me anything to prove it.
No, I'm saying
really
ask
don't
him to
think
take
so.
over as a public defender.
Yeah, I don't think that lady knew what she was talking about.
That's definitely
He
possible.
he defended her pro se,
Pro bono.
pro bono.
Oh, yeah.
Pro bono.
Pro bono.
So that's different than a public defender.
God, begging for a pro bono lawyer is.
No, but I want some of these lawyers. I want to get in touch with lawyers who say like, "Oh, sure, I'll defend you because like we going after these people for
Yeah.
big money."
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to give them a cut. I don't think it's got to be pro bono.
Mm-hmm.
There's big money. But then it's in multiple states. But I'll be happy. Town of Sturbridge got lots of money. They built a huge fortress, even though there's like no crime. Find out how many people were killed in the city of Sturbridge last year. City of Sturbridge crime stats.
Okay.
I would guess they have 50 officers. They spent tens of millions of dollars on this fortress. It looks like you're on the Star Trek Enterprise when you talk to the secretary. She's got like a massive like
Yeah,
you know what I
monitor.
mean? Monitor. They got everything. They got everything.
Did Ben just say it looked like the deck of the Starship Enterprise? I wonder if the middle school teacher Star Trek guy was actually a plant. I'm not sure, Calvin. I didn't watch this section of the stream live. I missed whenever she was out of the room.
Everything they could ever want. And what for? What's the crime look like in the town of Sturbridge?
Let's see. Sturbridge crime stats.
What's the population, first of all?
Let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they'll have stats because they do stuff like this, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, he wants like a rich person lawyer, essentially. Or if he could get like a really dogged like ambulance chaser that would view the potential upside, if they saw a potential upside. Somebody like that might be affordable if Ben made a compelling case to him.
So they say like this is one of their stats.
Yeah.
But
okay,
real crimes like murder. Murder would be something that's hard to fake. How many homicides occurred in the town of Sturbridge?
Okay, so the population is 9,640.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
9,640 people?
Mm-hmm.
And they have you saw the fortress, right? It's like a massive fortress.
Yeah. What are you saying? That's like very small? It's a small size.
9,600 people. That's a tiny town.
Yeah.
They have a canine.
Warren, Rhode Island has 11,000. So
Sturbridge, Mass has a dedicated 24/7 canine unit.
yeah.
It's
Warren
not just
doesn't
like
have that.
if we need it.
No, it's 24/7.
And a little guy who pets his dogs 24 hours a day. They have to be taken care of 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
What's the police budget?
Let's see. Murder last year 0.
0 murders.
2.43 assaults. 24 assaults.
Yeah, and what do they call an assault, right? Unwanted touching.
Yeah.
Ben was literally the biggest crime takedown of the year for the Sturbridge Police Department. Ben needs a better... Yes, yeah, exactly. Somebody that's a little bit shady, but very motivated.
Yeah.
How do you have 24.3 assaults?
It's the rate per 1,000 is 2.43, but it was 24 assaults, 0 murders.
Oh.
This is the official one. Hold on. Sturbridge. Which one is murder? This big one. Okay.
0 murders. When's the last time they had
0.
a murder in the town of Sturbridge? Because that's the one stat you can't fake. You need a dead body.
They had 0. Let's see. 0 murders, yeah. Violent crime, let's see what they have for that overall. Violent crime, 17 last year.
17 incidents?
17 violent crime incidents, yeah. Oh, this is 2019, but still.
They throw everything out. They have nothing to do.
What's their police budget annually?
Police budget annual. Let's see.
I mean, wouldn't you say in a place that has 9,000 people, what'd she say, 17 instances of violent crime, no murders, only like a couple, a dozen assaults or something? Don't you think that do you think that's why they brought all the shit out, basically? They had that big budget. Ben said they've got a Star Trek fortress. So do you think it was just like it's now or never? We may never get another opportunity like this, and so they just treated Ben like he was Bin Laden?
9,000 people live in a town. I would think you would just need one cop.
Yeah. It's gonna be real hard to find their budget. Budget
No,
book.
it isn't. All that's
Sturbridge,
public.
Massachusetts budget. Okay, let's see here. General fund budget. Education,
Yeah.
tax rate, water, wastewater, budget overview. Police department. This year's budget includes funding for 2 fully equipped police cruisers under operating capital as per the town cruiser replacement plan. Okay, but I'm not. I need to find like the whole thing.
I mean, I saw there were like 20 cruisers there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that department, yeah. Hold on. Town clerk. Okay. Facilities. Nope. Senior safety complex. That's it, right? Purchase of safety complex total $86,075.
They wanted to test out all
No.
their new police toys. Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like to me. I mean it was such an over response, but it kind of makes sense. Like it doesn't make sense literally to me, but I understand why they did it because they had all that cool shit and they were like, yeah, let's find this guy in the woods with the thermal drone. That's actually a really good thought there, Ananje. Going to like small towns with you get a small town, you not only like nothing's going on, but everybody's nosy. Everybody has like routines. Everybody's watching everybody, like monitoring everybody else, especially if you're an outsider.
But that's not including all the salaries, though.
No, that's just like that's like supplies. Let me see. Detail budget. Okay, police.
How much did that safety
D23
complex cost to build?
Hold on, D23. Hold on, I can find it. D23. Okay. Salaries. Okay, total salaries for the police department.
They're like, hey, listen, all this tech really helped us catch this international cyber terrorist YouTube outlaw, Ben Thorp. So now let's make sure that if we ever have another Ben Thorp, we need twice the dogs, and we also need like a tank.
Department. 2,741,000.
Man.
Okay, police department totals for the fiscal.
Wait. Split that. That's just salaries. Divide that by the number of people who live there.
Okay, hold on.
$2.4 million divided by 9,000 people.
2.7 million.
$2.7 million divided by 9,000 people.
300.
Anon J in the chat at the time, you said, I'm sure the people of the town are happy to pay the police whatever if they keep the dregs of society like the Thorpes out.
9,000 people times $300 each would give you 27,100.
Yeah. Which is 2.7 million.
$300 a person.
Yeah.
So that's like $1 a day for
Yeah.
every man, woman, and child in there.
Yes.
To keep them protected from what crime?
Oh man, Samantha, are you gonna have a Thorpe arc? I feel like the Thorpes in the Ozarks would be fantastic.
Ben wants the entire city budget breakdown.
Well, I just wonder why these people would want their town. And what these people do is they drive tourism away from this town, which is the main economy of the town, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it say that?
Sturbridge, it's a tourist town, isn't it? Sturbridge town, main economy. Massachusetts. thought it was a tourist town. What is Sturbridge? Old Sturbridge Village, a living history destination. So yeah, tourist stuff.
You don't have a breakdown of the town in terms of its.
Sturbridge Economic Assessment. Okay. Uh, attract visitors and foster business growth and development that creates jobs and revenue.
This is just their like plan, right?
Yeah.
Mock Lavelle in the chat says Ben is going to uncover the rampant corruption in Sturbridge by tedious financial analysis. And while that's a funny comment, that is probably one of the best ways if you're going to quote unquote fight City Hall. I mean, the things you're looking for that you would vulnerabilities or whatever are going to be so minor that you're much more likely to find something doing like you'd have to drill way deeper than the Thorps are right now. But like definitely looking at like tedious financial stuff is a good way to try to find like leverage in those situations.
Well, whatever.
Median household income in Sturbridge, what do you think? In 2017.
80,000.
84 grand.
So they're rich.
Percent of population 25 years and older with bachelor's degree or higher. What do you think?
50.
46. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to get lost in that.
Yeah.
But, I think it's relative. Actually, it's only 9,000 people to convince that
Yeah.
there was a big mistake made.
Only 9,000. That's teensy.
Yeah.
Warren is like literally
Guess how
a few
many
blocks.
of them? Guess
and
what
it's
percentage
11,000.
of them have the internet?
100%.
100%.
100%.
Guess how fast it would travel through there if they were to find out that the people that they elected and hired have produced a tyrannical, psychotic police force that terrorizes tourists at their expense.
Immediately. They're tiny. You know, I always wondered if that ended up on the news because it just seemed like such a crazy thing. You know what I mean? That whole interaction. Because Sturbridge is so small, like you'd
I
think.
never thought about
Is
that.
there a Sturbridge newspaper? I bet there is.
I'm sure that there is. Sturbridge MA newspaper. Sturbridge Villager,
The Sturbridge Villager.
I think.
I bet Garrett's going to be giving them a call. Don't talk to that guy. He's
Sturbridge-
dangerous.
Sturbridge
If he
Villager.
contacts you, contact us. Because remember, you went to go talk to someone at the campground.
Yeah. No, I was trying to check in.
Oh, because you're right. You were a member.
Yeah.
You went back
yeah.
there because you had no idea that this was actually the campground which had done this.
No, yeah. I just wanted a place to
And-
stay.
She called.
I thought at first that maybe this was related to the Thorp incident, but somebody on the TripAdvisor about Thousand Trails says it was a Western weekend and had a Western weekend and had a lot of fun having people arrested and going to jail. I thought it was like but that's from 2021. I thought it was like somebody talking about their experience of seeing Ben get arrested. You think of a Pepperidge Farms place, not a tyrannical, psychotic police state.
The police
Yeah.
to protect her from you. But she said like, "Oh yeah, right." Wasn't it like she was like, "Okay, yeah, sure."
Yes.
And then she had the cops tell you to get lost.
Yes.
Because she was so afraid of you and your criminal activity that she had to have the police tell you to leave the premises.
Yes.
She didn't even say like, no, you can't come back here.
No. I tried to check into the campground again because I wanted a place to stay. And I was like, okay, well, I don't fucking know where to go. I'll come back here. I'm still a member. Like,
Yeah.
so I went up to the gate. Of course, you can't get into a campground. There's a locked gate. You can't just walk in.
You think they like the people that run it, like whenever they get somebody's name, they run them through the system to try to see if they can feed arrests to the cops to feed the budget, since they have such a like low crime rate.
Right.
I went up to the gate. I was like, "Hi,
That sounds like a side mission in Fallout or something, solving a mystery like that.
my name is Chris Thorp. I have a reservation." They're like, "Okay, just give us a sec. We need to check something on your reservation." I was like, "Okay." I got suspicious then. But then it was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then they let me through. And I was like, okay, so. And then they were like, just pull over to the front and we'll have somebody check you in and give you a spot, you know.
So they
a
lied
site.
to you.
So they totally lied to me. And I was like, okay. So I pulled over and then I looked to my back and there's 2 cop cars coming down coming up to the gate that I just went through. And I was
For
like,
what reason?
they didn't talk to me. They let the campground people let the police officer through the gate. They
Probably got a cousin at the tow yard too. Gay in a small town like that, 9,000 people, gotta be a lot of related people, I would think.
drove down and parked perpendicular to me, 20, 30 feet away. Camp manager came out and she was like, "Hi, so unfortunately due to the disturbance last time, you cannot stay here until a complete investigation has been made."
And do we have that investigation? No.
I think she meant the police investigation. I don't know. I was
But I was in jail at that time.
yeah.
I do.
So I have a pee.
You're thinking about Fallout 4? You should absolutely buy Fallout 4. Here comes the food sharing. I don't like the food sharing. I'm anti food sharing.
Thank you.
Use margarine.
So, vegan butter.
Boobies
like
toast.
I'm poor, but
Very
bougie.
cool.
You need to
I only
leave.
have bread, but I have vegan butter.
Because if it was butter, I'd be like,
I guess toast isn't that bad because they're like separate pieces and stuff. But the food sharing is not one of my favorite parts of Thorp TV.
add some rancid butter.
Yeah, it does taste.
It tastes like rancid butter.
Yeah.
That's vegan butter for you, baby.
Yeah.
Well,
It tastes like rotten butter.
If it's bad, it could possibly be bad. If it's bad, don't eat it. The butter
Well,
looks
how would
bad.
anyone know whether vegan butter is bad or just vegan?
I'm gonna try it.
I mean, it tastes fine. It just smells rancid.
Oh my god.
Grace.
Not trying to complain.
That's probably just from being in my gross fridge or something.
Nah, it's been in your fridge. It's vegan. What could go bad? The oil?
I know. I don't know.
It's just vegan.
It
I'm
won't
not
get bad if
complaining.
you don't eat it though. I made a PB and J. Maybe
It could be rancid or just vegan.
you know, it turns it off.
Was she black?
Does anybody else always think it's really funny whenever Ben corrects Grace for being rude or impolite? I always think that's really funny.
And said, "You got to leave, honey child." No. She was white.
Well,
She was
we're
a
going to
real
be paying
Karen.
that corporation another visit.
Yeah, all right, bish. Okay. You want to
I
just
would
kick
like to
us
know
out
the
with no
approximate
refund?
assets of Thousand Trails Inc.
Chat, look it up. Approximate resource assets of Thousand Trails Campground.
Well, it's owned by
Incorporation.
it's a subsidiary of a large.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I told her.
You left your don't leave your sandwich.
Mm,
Alright, I'll be back like an hour.
Okay.
With sniper.
Look at what this idiot's doing. Oh, you think you're better than us with your podcast? 1.6 trillion, I think.
1.6 trillion.
Damn, we
I don't have
finna
my
be rolling
glasses.
in
Why
it.
don't you look it up?
Cause I like chat. They like having tasks.
Well, they're just lying now.
Guys, call Ping Pong Dave.
Can you imagine if the Thorpes became the first ever trillionaires off the backs of Thousand Trails?
Chat's moving awfully
He's been
slow
sitting there,
for
he's like-
149. Yo, Ping Pong Dave, where you at, bro? Thousand Trails assets. 2022. It's a private company.
South to West in the Thorp chat says, how's Ben feeling emotionally? What's his plan for the next court date? Like, he's going to answer that. Or answer it seriously.
Owned by Equity Lifestyle Properties.
All right, find out about them.
Equity Lifestyle Properties.
That sounds like a front for the mafia. honestly.
Total. Equity Lifestyle Properties. You know, whatever.
Sounds good.
Equity Lifestyle Properties total assets for 2023 were $5.614 billion.
Oh, $1 billion corporation.
Yeah.
Interesting. And their employee openly engaged in, participated in a, how embarrassing. You don't understand. Corporations that own hotels, like hotels are very careful about respecting the privacy of their guests.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how bad it looks that you not only didn't protect your guests, you tried to get them, you basically someone acted on your behalf as a predator of them for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. Except that she was lonely and bored.
Yeah. She wanted some drama. Well, Karen got her drama, didn't she?
You're not going to be happy with Karen. Because how easy for us to be like, dude, 1,000 Trails nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
In the RV world, it's a small world.
Mm-hmm.
And you look up 1,000 Trails and they have this like pros and cons shit. But like, if you go like, this is what happened to us.
And you have a picture
and
of the
show
police.
the footage and say it was all 1,000 Trails doing.
Mm-hmm. The manager called.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know how bad it is to say like if we ran an Airbnb and the point, for no reason, I'm going to try to like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Was no problem for me, but like I just was bored and I wanted to like
harass my clients.
Yeah, harass my clients.
Mm.
What could possibly have been her motivation? Because the
do you
massive scene.
Yeah, for no reason.
That obviously makes people feel unsafe.
Yeah, I mean,
when she could have just said, hey, by the way.
I feel like that was the perfect opportunity to bring in the whiteboard. Ben played his lawsuit with a mouthful of toast. With the rancid butter, no less.
Like the other guy at Quality Inn said, I got a weird phone call, just so you know. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
But she wanted to have her drama.
Even though it's literally a bad idea for the corporation she works for. Like, you don't want that kind of activity at one of your campgrounds.
No, I mean, she's the one who caused the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. She was the catalyst.
Absolutely.
Of causing the scene. There was no scene.
Nope.
It would have been fine if I was like beating you or something, or there was any commotion, anything.
Nope. Hair dye was a lie. No, it wasn't Cecil. Cecil?
Mm-hmm.
We've had to process our last court appearance. Southwest says, how is Ben feeling emotionally? What is his plan for the next court date?
Yeah, so actually, that gets into the other thing that I want to talk about with Ruby. Ruby says that she thinks, because I only heard a minute of it, but she thinks that we're codependent.
Yeah.
Has Ben discussed his feelings about some of the new Taliban rulings, like that women aren't allowed to raise their voices? I feel like Ben would have a strong opinion about that. The rancid butter started all of it. Yeah.
And that we have an unhealthy
It's going to activate Ben's IBS.
relationship.
Yes, in some ways, yeah. That's what she thinks.
Excuse me?
In some ways, yeah.
Which I think is completely an understandable take
Mm-hmm.
on the evidence of our interactions.
Yeah.
But you claim that you had a real epiphany in terms of what was going on between you and I a few days ago
Yeah, I absolutely did.
after the kind of clash here in New Haven,
Yeah. Yeah.
which, because nobody could really understand what you were doing, how it made any sense, except
Yeah.
to say, like,
This is just like hypnotic. I don't even feel like the I feel like the conversation's just like so just feels like it's out in the ethos. Like it's I have no idea. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the conversation, but like I'm invested in it.
the best case scenario was to say that I'm abusive, but you're abusive. That's what codependent means, right?
Yes, right. But I also think people did get a taste of like that you were asking for space that I wasn't giving you.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I
Hold on, let me get a
You should be so grateful.
Probably
you know how many
smoking-
simps would
Probably
worship
smoking a
me.
cigarette
I gotta
and you hold it with your toes.
I absolutely have to clip that. I definitely missed that the first time.
It's probably that's a niche.
Smoke boy. Puff from mommy. Now that's talent. Foot and mouth disease outbreak in New Haven.
Foot and mouth disease.
Yeah. So I don't think really anybody knew what was going on because I think what I was doing was at the time I was genuinely confused and I felt like you were pointing out all these I felt like what my take on it was that like you were pointing out issues that I had and I was just like, why do you have to be so critical?
Yeah.
Why do you have to keep pointing? Don't you think this feeds into the cycle? Like, why can't you just stop the cycle on your end and I'll stop it on my end?
Right.
I think that was the case I was making. Like,
You were making Benjamin Netanyahu's case that if the Palestinians would just stop being violent and surrender,
Yeah.
then they could live at peace.
yeah. Yeah. If you just stop pointing out what I'm doing, I'll stop doing it because
If you
most
just
of what I'm
accept
doing.
your fate to be in a concentration camp and stop throwing rockets over
Yeah.
and saying, like, this is a concentration camp, then we can make hotels together on the Mediterranean.
Right. Right.
And I was feeling like the Palestinians saying, like, excuse me, you have done nothing but terrorize my people. And your mother's a lot like the original Zionist settlers. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why I have to be treated this way. Makes no sense.
Right. And that's the key is that you kept telling me like you'd get angry sometimes, but most of the time what you were saying was like, this doesn't make sense what you're doing. It doesn't make sense. You kept repeating that. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. It doesn't make
No,
sense.
because you played the victim and yet you were free to leave. That's the main problem.
Yes.
How can you be the victim of something that you're free to not engage from,
Right.
to disengage from?
If
That
only,
is a good question.
right. I can't believe Ruby let them in her house. She's fully in the cult. Ruby Thorp.
So then you said, like, oh, okay, like, I don't know what I'm arguing about.
Yeah, so I realized at a certain point it just came to me, but I think I was looking around the RV and I was just like, there's so much great stuff in here. This makes me sound materialistic, but you know what I mean. This RV, like,
these are tools that could be used
yeah,
to
like
benefit us both.
right.
So
I
what's
love
the
this.
conflict?
Yeah, like I love this RV. I love everything you've put into it. I also like the touches I've made, but like it's mostly due to you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a guilty feeling. I was just sitting there looking at it and I was just like, why do I insist on having conflict? What? And I wasn't saying like, oh, I'm such a bad person. I was just saying like, what is the point that I'm trying to get across to this man? What is it that I'm trying to prove by always disagreeing with him?
Yeah.
By being like argumentative. Like I'm not even really that type of person, really, with like person to person. Like I wasn't like a rebellious child. I wasn't like this
No.
oldest daughter who always has
A little bit
issue.
of a weirdo, but not really.
Bit of a
really, like-
goona.
With Grace talking about, she's saying she doesn't know why she's the way she is. Joe Shabatoni says it's because you're nuts.
And yeah, not really like that type of thing, like punk rock. Fuck you, my parents.
Right.
That cat looks crazy.
Joe Shabatoni says because you're nuts. Yes, sort of. So I was like, okay, I was just really asking myself, like, what is the problem I have with this whole setup? Like, what is the problem I have?
Oh, that cat looks super sketchy. He's like sketched out.
I actually don't.
I think
Ruby's
the
avoiding
essential
you.
problem in this apartment is the cats.
Yeah, I think the cats. I believe a lot of the mess is from the cats getting into things. Probably.
Here we go.
I don't. Yeah.
Also,
Other aspects.
yeah. When are they gonna dye the cat's hair? I mean, they're her brother's cats. They're cute cats, but it's tough to have an apartment with pets.
Cats stuff.
Let the cats outside, Big Ben. So yeah, and I was just saying like really, what is my problem? What is my problem? Like Grace, just okay, just you're here. I think I was by myself. Like, just
I would say the routine here is like it's not really ready for cats.
yes, yeah.
So first we have the complaining about the vegan butter. That segues into the cats being an issue and the low-key pointing out the odor. So we're already starting to see some serious cracks in the foundation here.
It's like when
You
we
can
had
have cats if you're up to it,
yeah.
but if you are not up to it and you have cats, you end up with problems.
Yeah, like remember at the house when we had Fido and nobody took him out and it was just
Yeah,
a
if you
disaster.
add
He'd get
pets-
into things.
Pets to the mix.
He'd chew things.
You're
He'd
gonna
make
have a
disasters.
problem.
He'd
Yeah.
pee. He started peeing in corners.
But there's
Pooping.
I think some people have a thing where they're like, a lot of times where you have like cats and houses that are, let's say, in disarray, somewhat in
Pooping.
disarray.
Wow.
They tend to go together because I think there's a sense like that's like a surrogate family, right?
Yeah, like company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take Fido when I met up with the guys. I was considering taking Fido, but I was just like, I don't think I'm in a place where I can take care
Yeah,
of
you
this
have to ask
dog
yourself,
and
are they-
keep things
Are the pets
clean.
part of the family, or are they like something which may or may not make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Shabatoni showing that he knows how to read the room. He says, "This is a calm, everything is fine stream. Business on track for a major blow up by this weekend."
And that's okay, but I would just say it's much easier without the pets
Yeah.
to establish order
Yeah.
than with pets.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you're fighting against whatever.
Yeah. Like it was tough with
Especially if
Fido.
the pets aren't like disciplined. You
Yeah.
first have to either discipline the pets, or you might as well not even. I mean, why bother? It's like a household with unruly kids. Like, it doesn't matter how much you clean. Well, remember those kids you're talking about, the autistic twins who used to throw their own excrement and all the food that was served to them.
Yeah.
At the people serving it to them.
Yeah.
You can't clean around that.
Yeah.
You have to get those kids disciplined.
Yes.
Or
right.
realize you can't and make them wards of the state.
Yeah. You got to eat. It's
You
a
can't
fundamental
just
underlying problem.
work around it, because then
Yeah.
you want a kind of drama that's endless.
Yeah.
And you got to choose one or the other, I think. That was the problem in our household, too. Is like, you've got to get the fundamental family situation, like, worked out.
Yeah.
Because it was always messy, because there was just a fundamental mess.
Yes.
Which had to do with, I think, your mother's inability or unwillingness to take on the roles that she aspired to take on without being mature enough to actually just do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you've had the drama of someone who wants to be a mother but can't or won't do it, which I really think would necessitate a different structure.
Yeah. Yeah. Then constantly.
Which the priest in 2020 clearly stated to us is like, yeah, no, mom can't be a normal mom. And she should try to do the best she can, but like not within this structure.
Yeah. Because
And
it's
that's
just
that's the only
for
person
disaster.
who's ever been experienced with family life, we've ever interacted with, who is an expert in the sense of someone who's dealt with families for decades.
Yeah.
And understands it in the light of Catholic teaching.
You want more perspective from Courtney? I mean, I don't know that it's like she's not always talking about like these specific issues, but like on her YouTube channel, she's got quite a few really long videos where you can at least, like, if you're not familiar with her, like get to know her through her content a little bit.
Teaching, and I think he was.
And it's pretty keynote when she plays the ukulele too.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So, why we couldn't do that? How this is a better solution? And he specifically warned her to not worry about, not try to go for the gold.
Yes. Right.
It's right
To
in
understand
there.
her limitations.
To understand the limitations and not let it be like become overwhelmingly negative.
Right.
And man,
she did not.
We should have tried to get a hot mic on Ben during the priest interview.
Heed that advice.
that was not okay. Some people, when they want to engage in a fantasy world and they're just not willing to let it go for any price, even the obvious alienation of everyone in the family, which is, how is that not? I'd love for someone to come up and argue that that's not what's going to happen here. If you exercise police power over people who are in their teenage years and never explain why you're doing it, how are they not going to resent that? How is that going to work? There's no better way to alienate people.
Yeah. And also,
How over time, it's like saying, well, the people in God.
Truth Seeker Knows in the Thorp chat at the time was like, Ben breaks and hurts everyone around him. His mental illness untreated. In his eyes, he's the victim. In reality, he's the major problem. What a dramatic comment.
Gaza, now that they're getting like bombed on a daily basis, are going to really understand that we're their friends. And over time, they'll come to understand that we're benevolent rulers over them.
yeah. Yeah.
With every bomb, another heart is opened to Zionist rule.
Mm-hmm.
How is that logic ever going to work? Well, it's only some of them we have a problem with. Well, but now the vast majority of them are back military, like violent military as the only solution.
Yeah.
That's the net result.
Right.
So you
You're,
can poll Gazans, and to the extent that they tell you the truth, they'll say, like, yeah, I see nothing but, like, war here.
Mm-hmm. You're galvanizing them.
You galvanize them against yourself while claiming that
Joe Shabatoni said, this has the vibe of a lefty political podcast. Kind of fits.
somehow this is a strategy which will make them. But the real idea is we will break them.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been tried before in Algeria. The French tried to break the Algerians, and it was totally counterproductive. And in the 60s and 70s, we tried to break the Vietnamese, but we did it as foreign powers. We tried to tell them we're liberating them when we looked a lot like the French who had been there before, which is why Kennedy never put
Grace is cucking the Gooner content. Synchronizing international relations with marital relations. Like I said, I mean, like, I'm not retaining this information, unfortunately, but that could be also because I'm high, but, like, I'm super zoned in on it. I'm, like, absorbing it, but then it just kind of, like, floats out, but it's, like, a pretty, like, hypnotic experience.
a soldier.
I feel the same way about some of Grace's streams when she does solo streams where she's just kind of, like, doing all kinds of different things with no real direction, just like bouncing from one task to another. Like, I think those streams are like really like vibe streams
In Vietnam.
Mm.
And it's one of the reasons very clearly why he was assassinated, because
I'd like to go into like the home of someone that I know but not really that well, and they're having like a large group of friends over, and then just put this on their TV and then just like not acknowledge it.
he didn't see there as being any hope in that. He sent advisors, but he never sent one troop there. And I think that's why he was eliminated. That's one of the reasons why he was eliminated. Made a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
But he was right. No one.
Peripheral viewing, yeah, it's like floating down a river. Like, I'm experiencing it, but I'm not like thinking about like, oh, there are trees, there's whatever. I'm just living in the moment.
One would argue that Vietnam was worth all of the lives lost. I think it was like 50,000 Americans died for no reason, and hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese were killed. And with each,
I'm kind of tempted to clip this whole segment, starting with when Grace handed him the cigarette with her foot, and then they got into how Ben was like the Palestinians and Grace is like Israel. Then Ben started doing the like international relations to marital relations. I'm tempted just to clip like a big chunk of it and then like package it like a podcast, like make the thumbnail make it look like a podcast.
dead Vietnamese, it just galvanized the indigenous resistance.
Like, do you think Ben would hit me with a cease and desist if I just titled it like Thorp Cast, Episode 1, International Relations?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we bombed the hell out of them. You know, there was a statistic, like, if we had taken all the money we had spent on the Vietnam War, we could have given each of them like $200,000 cash.
Really?
Yeah.
Each Vietnamese citizen at the time?
Yeah.
Jesus.
each person in Vietnam, something like that.
Uh,
Let alone the American lives lost.
I'm losing it at this fucking this podcast content. It's like a degenerate NPR. Look at Ben's face.
But human nature is inclined towards idiocy.
yeah. Speaking of which, that's what I was. You were
But
saying.
now we're supposed to get ready for another war with a population that has, with Iran, a population of 60 million people with a rich history and way more political nuance than they're given credit for, on the basis that they want to take over the world,
Yep.
like Hitler.
They're the Nazis.
Who also didn't want to do that. The Nazis actually didn't want to do that either. That's a lie. But
Well, like you were saying
the
earlier.
Nazis were crazy, but they didn't want.
Joshua Tony says, "Push back, Grace." Actually, I think Kennedy. I have no idea.
It's amazing. That was what, like 1963. Like, clearly.
Hey Orwell, this is from 5 days ago. It was the stream where they. This was like the beginning of the downward spiral with Ruby. Later on in the stream, like Ben, but tells her she's not going to be a mom or a wife.
The deep state participated in the assassination of an extremely popular president.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like listening to this. I don't, but it just doesn't sink in, but it doesn't matter. Like, Ben's a good storyteller, and, like, he is absolutely, like, convincing, but I just don't process any of it. I just like to experience it.
President who probably saved the world because his advisors wanted full-scale nuclear war over Cuba.
Right, I remember watching that.
His
with you.
advisors
Yeah.
and Khrushchev's advisors were all for. They were crazy. Nuclear war. And
South to West, do you think that because Ben is a victim of a legal war, that like he should be given veteran status and like the benefits that go along with that?
those two guys, like, through back channels, said, like, let's not do this, and saved the world. And the price he paid was to get assassinated. Thanks a lot. And that's the way it is in this world.
Why would the deep state even? Why would they want nuclear?
They thought that
war?
Wouldn't
Wouldn't it kill them too?
They thought that a confrontation with the Soviet Union was inevitable because they were crazy and paranoid.
Yeah.
And they felt like we should strike them before they had gotten an arsenal enough where they could beat us. You know what I mean? It's preemptive war, right?
Yeah, but still, wouldn't everybody die? Like, wouldn't they push back?
I could absolutely fall asleep to this. In fact, before I started like recording the VCs, like the first couple that they did after I started coming around, like I would just put in my earbuds and listen, and I'd always end up falling asleep. Which again probably has a lot to do with the weed, but
Back?
Yeah, it's insane.
So
It's
how would that
insane.
even be saving their own lives?
Well, I mean, I think the idea would be at that time, like, major population centers would get hit, but they'd be protected because they'd be in a bunker. I mean, it's insane. I don't know. Why do people do the things they do, Grace? I don't know. A lot of people, I got in trouble for this, but I think I get in trouble for this because I tell a lot of people that their logic is the logic of total destruction. And that they'd be better off jumping off a bridge and annihilating them.
God. Can you imagine just having like a back and forth discussion with someone, and finally you're just like, okay, look, your entire like methodology, your entire belief system is self-destructive, and you'd be better off just going and jumping off a bridge.
themselves than continuing to do what they do, which is, just take yourself out. You hate life. I mean, I think that's what the devil wants us to do.
Oh no, not
Is
the devil. Not the devil. Speaking of bridges, do you guys remember the stream? I don't think or maybe it didn't happen on stream or we didn't see it on stream, but Grace put the pictures on Discord where they saw the guy hanging off the bridge and like for some reason Ben and Grace were really empathetic toward the guy and like was that what prompted the FBI visit or was that right after the FBI visit? But anyway, I just thought it was really funny that like Ben was concerned for the guy on the bridge since he's like told so many people to go find one.
to make us say like, God is my enemy. Existence is an affront to me. Honesty is right, and
Yeah.
it's taken hold. And young people today, I do think are like lost, right? Because hey, you're told so many lies that it becomes easy to despair.
Truth Seeker Knows in the chat's got another dramatic one. How exhausting, just listening to these manic mental ramblings. Only given enough time to respond. Yeah, he never lets anyone speak. Very rare.
Yeah.
Like even this thing that like the whole nation. When Obergefell was passed, when it said like marriage is a thing, right?
Obergefell? Is
Was
that
the Obergefell decision of the Supreme Court?
Oh.
I actually was like deeply hurt by it because it's like a way that society is saying like just a lie is true. There's no such thing as homosexual marriage. You can have homosexual relationships and you can love those people, but when a society says like the fundamental unit at the core of every family, which is just what society becomes, like all the family units, could also be just a total lie.
Yeah.
It's like you just say like, oh, my dad.
Does anybody in chat think that Dalmatian Dog is right and that like most of Ben's problems would be taken care of if Grace would just act like a woman?
Is lying to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the people in charge are just lying.
Yeah.
They've failed to say something that everyone knows is true. It's not a marriage. It's just a complete capitulation to a lie. And then from that point, where are we going to go?
Mm.
Can you imagine being a judge and having a divorce case between two lesbians where you're trying to figure out if the state's interest, how does the state have any interest in what two lesbians are doing?
I don't
Right?
know.
Because the state has an interest in marriage because marriage is the core unit of society.
Well, with children, right? With families.
Well, right, because marriage is what is usually at the core. Well, I mean, ideally, but of course there are going to be people who don't have kids. But
it is absolutely, in my opinion, a talent to be able to do this. Like, there's no downtime in this conversation. There's hardly even any like empty beats in there at all. Like, this has just been like one basically almost just like one steady statement. Like, it's pretty impressive just to sit down and just talk this much.
normally the understanding is first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby in a baby carriage. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's not first comes love, then comes homosexual activity, and then comes who knows what. Nothing comes out of it.
No.
But anyways, the judge is supposed to care whether like this lesbian should get this much of the house compared to that lesbian. Who cares?
Okay, that's gotta be in the Netflix teaser trailer, right? What a line.
And why? Because you had some sort of bizarre form of like pseudo sexual activity together that we said makes sense. It doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, but here's the thing: isn't it? It doesn't really matter
and
because
that's why these judges
what
are
is
totally
marriage?
batshit crazy, because like all the real judges must have said like, I'm a bounce now, like I don't get it.
Mm. But a marriage is
What is the
two.
justice? What is the justice of like, well, Sheila wants the house and Barbara wants the car? Like, what does this have to do with justice?
I don't know.
Adjudicating a lesbian argument? Why is the state, the dignity of the state being brought?
So since Grace passed the cigarette with her foot, which was at 2 hours 51 minutes, this podcast segment has only been like 20 minutes long. I could have sworn it was like an hour and a half.
Brought into this? It's just a joke, obviously.
Yeah, but once they said like, what is marriage, right? Marriage is like,
Yeah, what are the grounds for a lesbian divorce? What are the grounds for a marriage? It's pointless.
but a marriage is a man and a woman coming together, making vows for life to raise children and be together. So
Yeah.
once you introduce divorce into the program, where those vows can be redacted at any point, why say it has to be a man and a woman?
It's not what the word redacted means.
Renounced. You know the
Yeah.
If you can divorce somebody, why can't you get married to someone of the same sex? Like marriage means nothing at that point. Don't you think that's true?
Well, there were societies that had divorce prior to homosexual marriage, but yeah, it behooves a society to have strong marriages
Right.
and to try to keep people together.
Mm.
But yeah, if the whole thing becomes just a transaction that's meaningless, you can't even have a society. But I don't know. You can't even approach a judge with anything resembling a Catholic understanding of marriage, because it's all been legally thrown in the garbage.
Right. Right.
But they'll still say best interest of the children, but they actually don't care at all.
No.
But I can't talk about that because I think, again, they don't want to hear the truth, which is that it should be, right, the children's interest should be put first. And they should be consulted, not removed from it. But,
Yeah.
there's this false piety. Like, we don't want to hear what the kids have to say.
I think ever since they shifted into that, like, discussing the non-Thorp stuff, I think this has just been gold content. It just feels like it literally is like a Thorp podcast. Like typically it's all like involving, like it's just a different tone when they're talking about like talking in this manner. I don't know how to describe it.
Because we don't want to hear the truth, because we're following a regime. Whatever, I don't know what it is. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
Who knows
But-
how they decide anything? It's all just based on, I don't know.
I can't really segue back into this, but when I was thinking, like, you were saying that mom kind of felt like she got trapped in a cycle of, okay, bye.
I have to see a man about a dog.
Okay. It's fine. I was just kidding.
I got a couple minutes.
Yeah. I was just saying that when you said that mom felt like she like kept failing as a mother and wife and kept coping and coping and coping.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, because I saw that, I think it's totally understandable. I transferred that into our relationship. That's why you kept saying like you're acting as if you're like my wife who's failing,
Yeah.
the mother of my kids who's failing, and like you never made such a commitment. And so what I'm saying is like if I start from that premise, of course then all the subsequent defensiveness and hostility and like, no, you're wrong about
It's
me.
such an insane
It's
premise.
such an insane place to start from, but you can see how you get into this sort of defensive, endless wormhole spiral out of that. But like,
Right.
if you just come back to the essential thing and you say like,
Yeah, but it's a little different. I mean, because even in your mother's case, like, it was like 4 or 5 years ago that I said, like, look, this never happened. We're free.
yeah,
And we got to do the best we can. But like this thing at the core is just a joke, obviously.
yeah,
So then for you to take up the mantle of the joke
right. It's insane.
when you're my daughter.
Yeah.
Hey, South to West, do you think that the charges against Ben are constitutional or unconstitutional?
But
It's insane,
I think
but
that
it's-
your mother's hell becomes your hell, even if your mother's hell actually doesn't correspond to any reality in your life, which is
But
amazing.
I just kept saying like, do I actually have a problem?
You should read this book, Sexual Personality by Camille Paglia.
Oh, Camille, yes.
Very
Let me see. Anyways, nobody
Where's
wants
the,
to hear what I have to say.
manual.
Over right to your right. I think it's right there. You see it? Grace has an opinion. Gotta go.
Completely unconstitutional. I figured that's how you might feel about it. Well, I'm gonna take a break there. Whoa, what's this pose from Grace? This is completely unintentional. Don't clip it out of context. I don't know what it was. I think this was for like a kind of uneventful segment of the stream. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought that the 251 to 319, the podcast, was fantastic. And Ben's definitely building up steam. So I'll be back tomorrow and we'll keep watching. We're getting closer and closer to the apex of this first step in the bridge burning. Thanks for hanging out, though. I do appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see